Hello, we are back for another Road to Cheltenham, episode 3 of this year's series, looking ahead to the greatest show on turf, which I know is still a little while away. But Frankie and Joel, of course, we have includes every single weekend, and this one was no different. There'll be more to come, upcoming as well in a few days' time this weekend. But Joel, more importantly than anything, if you watch the Punters Guide, your mates are coming up trumps once again, or bumper-ty-bump, another winner on the bumper scene.
Yeah, five winners, wasn't it? 5 winners from 5. I'll be honest, did you watch the race? Because I was a little nervous towards the end, but never in doubt. Won by a diminishing head. Pulled out a little bit more. It was the went off second favourite, didn't it? And beat the I think it was well odds on in the daytime. The even money shot from Gordon Elliott, and nearly got chinned by the second string. But no, he's 5 from 5. So we'll keep that info coming. But apart from that, before you say it, and before we mention it on the Punters Guide on Friday, I think I had the worst weekend in history. So it was Frankie's turn to have a belter this weekend.
Well, he did, yeah. He didn't do too badly at all. And you at Newbury as well, Frankie, getting a few tidbits and things. But more importantly, apart from that, we didn't see Constitutional last weekend. But hopefully we will get to see him this weekend. Although Nick Henderson throwing a bit of a curveball, he says we'll definitely see Shishkin in the fighting fifth.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? I mean, Nicky probably gets a bit of stick, doesn't he, along the way for not running horses enough or being a little bit, a bit too delicate with them sometimes. And now he's decided to run Shishkin and Constitution Hill together. It is a curveball. It'd be an entertaining watch, that's for sure. I think what you get from it is how keen he is to get Shishkin ready to go to the King George. They're very keen to go and have a crack at that King George. So that's where the pointers are for me, really. And yeah, it'll be a bizarre race to watch. Who knows what'll happen?
That's what I mean, because Goshen's been entered as well. Goshen and Shishkin in the same race.
I heard Nicky this morning. Yeah, I heard Nicky this morning on the radio say, who's going to ride Shishkin, and Nicky was like, I don't know. We've just made the decision now. I don't know, but we'll run. So I'm thinking, Jamie Moore's out. You got 2 head cases. Who's the best shot for a head case nowadays? Because they used to be a specialist, didn't they? It's just I've no idea. One of the 8 Bowens probably would set them out of both.
Can't wait for that. That's
surely.
the weekend. We'll touch on the Punters Guide. Right, don't forget, like and subscribe us here on YouTube. And every time you get a new episode, we will notify you of it, whether it be the Punters Guide on a Friday or the Road to Cheltenham on a Monday. And, of course, you can listen to us. You don't have to see our ugly mugs, other than Frankie's, of course. Yeah, that beautiful face. On Spotify as well, and take us with you everywhere you go. But we mentioned the fighting fifth. There is a Champion Hill trial. We have some Champion Hill clues this weekend in the Haddon's Grace. I'll start with you, Frankie. Impaire, Passe. Travelled well. Disappointing to be beaten by Tiopo. Personally, I'm not losing faith in them. I think the ground may have been a bit tacky at Fairyhouse because a few that travelled beautifully didn't quite see it out. He lost his unbeaten record, but I still think he's going to be the main danger to Constitution Hill come March.
He's not going to win a Champion Hurdle, though, is he? Not that he ever was, in my opinion. It's typical, really, of Mullins horses. None of them have been finishing their races. They've all travelled really well. And none have really finished their race too strongly, which I think there might come a point this season, provided you haven't already done your money on lots of Mullins favourites at the start of the season. If you haven't been backing them first time out and they haven't quite performed, I do agree, Matt. I haven't lost faith in him as a horse in general. I just think Mullins isn't quite firing, and Tia Hoopu is a very good horse. So I think there will come a point when the Mullins form turns around and all of his top horses do start performing, and we might get a tiny bit of a better price on some of them, or at least they won't all be odds on for once. So there might come a point in the season where the Mullins ball gets rolling, and if you get ahead of things and start backing them, I think they all will perform as we know they can. They just haven't been at the start of the season. But as for the Champion Hurdle, we all know there's only one winner. Constitution Hill won't be beat. Impaire Passe won't get within 15 lengths of him. You should probably send him to the stairs instead.
There you are, Mr. Mullins. I'm guessing Mullins let form probably a week in December. There'll be a weekend in February and 4 days in March, like he normally does. But Joel, where do you sit on Impaire Passe?
I always look at Twitter and type in the jock's name. So I typed in Paul Townend, and you get people calling for his head. The worst ride you'll ever see, cheating, Ben, whatever. And then you get another one that says, I like this one, just pulled it up randomly, a guy called Gareth. He said, I think Tiopu was trained for the day, market drift, a few minutes before was nothing. Paul Townsend tried to nurse him home, will come on for the run. And then other people were saying, which makes a lot of sense, if you look at the ground was dirty, it was sticky, it was, as Nicky Henderson would describe it, heavy, or yielding to heavy, or whatever they call it out there. If you look at it, it was just got outstayed. And Teahupoo, every single race he's won has been on that dirty, horrible ground. And Jack Kennedy was throwing the kitchen sink. They're going straight to the next race for this one. They're not messing about. And Impaire Passe obviously devastated that it won't keep its unbeaten run. But at the same time, like I say, I'm with Frankie. Go to the stayers. But they will say this morning they're dropping it down in trips. So I've no idea. It's the Willie Mullins bingo already, isn't it?
He did travel well, so I think the Champion is the most obvious route personally for him, and say finishing second there. Yeah, you mentioned the ground. Iron Maximus won the 2.5 mile Drimore, and he's an Irish national and outstaying the lot. So I think that goes to show just the type of conditions they were dealing with yesterday. But Teahupoo, you mentioned that straight to the stage. He's your 4-1 favourite. He's third last year. He's behind Dashel Drasher, who returned with a victory in the long walk at Paisley Park. I mean, you were there on Newbury on Friday, Frankie. That must have been some reception for them two old stalwarts.
Yeah, it was class. I actually watched the race next to Emma Laval and was gutted for her because she was wheeling Paisley home with everything she had, and it was a sad result for fans of Paisley Park, but it was a cracking race. As far as the stayers goes for the festival, I think that's just shown that the bar is very much set from last year on all these old boys. They're just performing over and over again, but at a very not average standard, but at the same standard, and it really is the time for a new, younger horse to come through. And I think you could write off a lot of last year's runners in the stayers and side with one. Sorry, not all of last year's runners, but all of those that have turned up for the last 2 or 3. And now it is time to be siding with an up-and-coming one like Teahupoo. So as far as March goes, it was great to see that race at Newbury. But that gives me every confidence in a horse like Teahupoo over, sticking with those churning out the same sort of performance every time they run.
Yeah, 4-1 favourite Joel Teahupoo for the stayers. I mean, I say it is the most wide open division of the championship races, but he's an obvious candidate now, isn't he?
Yeah, 100% obvious. I backed Marie's Rock on that day for a lovely 6-timer when all the favourites came in, apart from that one. So I was willing Paisley Park to go and do it, and like everybody, unless you back Dashel Drasher, you were just hoping, praying, and I bet even Aidan Coleman was sitting there somewhere in a wheelchair or something, getting the old stick out. Home by the Lee, I had a 5 each way at 33-1 in this race, just because I'm waiting for the big one on this one. A little while ago, Teahupoo at 4-1 is the best we've seen so far. I agree with everything Frankie said, but Antipost is not like it used to be. So just the value seeking, if it goes there, home by the Lee, I've got my 5 on each way in the book at 33-1.
I've just pulled the
NHS. I know the NHS have some critics, but why is he in a wheelchair with a bad wrist?
Well, the problem is you don't know what else is broke and how he got the bad wrist. You see, this is why we've got the info. He's got cramp. It's the coccyx. It's everything that's gone.
Oh dear, go on, Frankie.
I've just pulled up the market, and you can just pull so many out of there. I mean, there's obviously the French horse Telemay, or however you say it, that does have decent chance. We spoke about that before, didn't we? But Irish Point is owned by the same owners, isn't it, as Teahupoo. West Balboa won a handicap, but it's a step up. Impaire Passe, you probably go down in trip, just reckon. And then you got Gaelic Warrior, Jenny's Destiny, they're all going chasing. And then you do just have that old bunch. Sire de Belay, Dashel Drasher, Paisley Park. I mean, Corbett's Cross, chasing Stairway. All of these names are either chasing, then you're just left with the old boys, really. It has to be time for one of the younger ones. And like Joel said, Antipost prices aren't necessarily the best, but I suppose they are priced for that reason. And the top 2 in the market, they have to be there or thereabouts come March Teahupoo or the French horse. And for us punters, anyway, it's easier to judge one of Gordon's than it is one coming over for France. So I reckon he's the right favourite. He's not completely unbackable for me at Force.
No, he's not. And the French said he threw a couple of darts at it last year, didn't they? Including that gold tweet, of course. Let's just talk about the novice chase division then. I think sorry, Joel.
No, I was just going to say that Tell Me, that's how you pronounce it, the French horse. I was watching back this morning. I couldn't find any British commentary on it, and it's really weird. In the big race, it was a French champion hurdle. They do the thing what we do, where they have 2 or 3 commentators, but they only do a fence or a hurdle apiece. So it's back and forth. And I genuinely thought it was Japanese this morning that I was watching. I'm all over this, and so I did my research. It's rated what 174. Tiapu's rated what 162, something like that. Classical Dreamer Flooring Porter behind Tell Me in that race, and at 11-2, 11-2, 6-1, something like that. That's a really good bet. You know, I know we were talking about Gold Tweet last year, but I think many people are still put off by the French horse, the old years of Thierry Dumas turning open and stuff like that. And Tell Me, because he is a French, I think we're getting a much bigger price for arguably could be the best horse in that race to come out. And what is he? 6 from 7 now.
Yes, and yes, so the French do have a record. Old Barracuda you mentioned there, old Thierry Dumas, of course. Talking of a French thing, let's look at the novice chasers as well, because 10-1 seems to be the number banded around for everything that won this weekend. You were there, Frankie. I'll start with you again. Hermes Allen was weak in the market. Paul Nicholls suggested he needed the run, but probably does need to work on his jumping if he's going to go to Cheltenham and be a leading contender. But it wasn't a bad chasing debut, was it?
No, it was decent. I'm not getting overly excited by him. I think everyone got carried away. Probably myself included, and maybe Joel as well. We were talking about him, weren't we, for the Ballymore for a while. And he did go off favour, I think, in the end for the Ballymore. And we probably did all get a little bit carried away with him last year. He was unlucky and disappointing, both unlucky and disappointing at the festival and at Aintree. So he has got back on track and he's proven himself as a Grade 1 horse again. But I don't think he's a Cheltenham Festival horse. Paul said he'd put him in the same bracket as Stay Away Faye and their other novice chaser at home. But again, I don't know. I don't think he's a superstar. Good, and he is a Grade 1 horse, but I don't think he has just got back on track to that, you know, type of horse that was going to win a Ballymore, and then when he goes chasing, he's going to be even better and better. I wouldn't be backing him for the festival. He might not even go. You know, I don't know. Paul will have to judge him and see what he thinks and whether he's a festival horse, but he might try and pick off some other Grade 1 novice chasers throughout the season rather than go to Cheltenham.
Well, we know we can't win the Turners, Joe, because that sort of Gaelic Warrior is going to win. But, you know, in terms of the British, he was chasing debut. It was a Grade 2, and he came out and won it quite nicely, considering he'll come on for the run.
Yeah, I thought he looked in trouble for a little while. Only when Nickelback made that mistake. But I just put down here. You were saying that you put him in the same category. I think Stay Away Faye's a much better horse. Did it fine? If it was, I'd say 7.5 out of 10 for the debut. But as you say, it's 10-1 for the Turners, and that's not big enough for me because, as we know, if Gaelic Warrior stays fit, we'll win and can jump.
And can jump. What about Corbett's Cross? He's also 10-1 for the Turners and for the Brown Advisor. I imagine he would go the 3 miler. He got off the mark in what looked a deep beginner's chase at Fairyhouse, Joel.
Yeah, I thought it looked really, really good. I mean, watched a lot of the Fairyhouse racing and caught up with it this weekend. There was a few bits there. I mean, what price would Corbett's Cross be for? That was the only other one that I could get out of this. 16s maybe 20s. I was making notes yesterday when the bookies were coming in with their quotes afterwards. Nothing to get too excited about because I just generally think I've got the winner of the race. I mean, is it going to stay 3 miles? Will he stay 3 miles? Is what I've written down here. Did everything fine for me, but it was one of those that I wouldn't just get excited about because in that race we've got the winner, haven't we? So it's if it's not all about me, I'm on a different bus. You might as well talk to him about ground racing or something.
Joel thinks the Turners and the Brown Advisory is the same race. I'm sure when Gaelic Warrior is going to win them both.
Yeah, he'll turn up on the Wednesday, win the Brown Advisory, and the Thursday, win the Turners.
Look, it's happened before. They're good enough. He could go around twice if he wanted, go backwards and take them all with him. And if you want me to be really, really honest with you, I have made all my notes today, but I've left my glasses surprisingly in the pub. So if I'm not making much sense at these, it's coming out of the brain as opposed to being notes. I don't just want to sit here squinting at you.
Christ, we're all in trouble if it's coming out of the brain. Corbett's Cross there, Frankie. Looked like He was going to stay 3 miles when he crashed through the wing in the Albert Bartlett last year.
Yeah, I quite like Corbett Cross after the weekend because he's proven that it wasn't, he got bought ahead of the festival, didn't he, to basically go and win the stairs. And he arguably would have if he didn't have other ideas at the last. So he was purchased with high hopes. On the form book, it doesn't look like he did perform at the festival, but obviously, as we know, he did and had every chance of going to win. So if he'd have won that, then it would have been, he's been bought to win the festival. He's gone and won at the festival. He is the horse we all thought he was. And then he's gone chasing and he's done his job. And he still can improve his jumping and step up to 3 miles. So there's a lot of improvement left in that performance, I think. So I think it was a decent performance and definitely one to look at. I would guess for the Brown Advisory, the 3 miler.
Yeah, I thought that's the way he would go as well. Right, let's look then at the Curd and Razor because, to be fair, Frankie, you did give us a little pointer about the Supreme Oaks for Jericho de Repine and one head in chest. All right, the form's questionable. The only real danger tried to run around the whole of Newbury and tried to duck out the Paul Nichols horse, but he couldn't be any more easy on the eye, could he, Jericho de Repine? 15-2 for the Supreme now.
Yeah, this splits opinion, doesn't it? Some people say, you're absolutely mad. How can you put a Supreme horse up when we haven't even seen it just off of hype? How can he win a Supreme when he's beaten nothing? But what novice hurdlers do have a really hard race before going to the Supreme. They all win pretty much on the bridle and look stylish. Constitution Hill wasn't in a battle, was he, before he went and won the Supreme? All of them go there as novice hurdlers, and you have to take a little bit of chat and hype on board. And, that's what makes punting on the Supreme fun for me. Nobody knows for sure how good. The trainers don't even know for sure how good their novice hurdlers stack up against other novice hurdlers. So I like betting on the Supreme. I'm not saying Jericho de Repine is now a stead cert because of what he did at the weekend. We just don't know. But he did it nicely. I think if you sat on a slip that's a bigger price, then you've done well. And if you're not, then you've probably missed the boat because, you're not going to see too much more of them, bar winning stylishly before the festival anyway. So you've got to make your mind up early, trust in a bit of hype, and hopefully a few people are sat on a nice slip.
Yeah, well, you did warn us, Jericho de Repine, Joel. But also, what about Five Fox and Farron Glory in the Supreme trials over the weekend?
Can I just go back and say I've got Daddy Longlegs at 25-1 for Supreme. You're saying we're sitting there on big prices. Somebody did say it might be the best 2 miler in the Willie Mullins yard. And he's been a bit sneaky with this one. It's all a bit like that, runs it round Turnus on a Thursday. And I thought, hello, a bit of 25-1. We'll have a little look at that one. Sorry, what are you moving on to now?
Thanks for joining us. Jericho de Repine with Five Fox and Farron Glory in the Supreme. All three victorious over the weekend. I mean, Jericho de Repine, we're just talking about, won very well. Five Fox looked a match, but he lowered the colours of Ballyburn in decent style. And I thought the Royal Bond for Grade 1 was a little bit of a scrappy affair, really.
Yeah, I mean, in what Five Fox or Ballyburn, it was one of no bet races for me. I'll be honest with you, I was making tuna sandwiches for kids at this point. I don't think either of those will be winning at Cheltenham. It was something that didn't really excite me over the weekend whatsoever. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, there we go.
Ballyburn was a bit of a talking horse, wasn't it?
It was a massive talking horse, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. The way that Firefox puts a few lengths in between the second last and the last. If Ballyburn is as good as the chat is, then to kind of Jack probably just gave him a squeeze and put 3 or 4 between them quite quickly. I thought it was a decent performance. And Jack obviously, I don't know, imagine got the choice of the two and decided to ride Firefox as well.
What did you make of the Royal Bond then? Farron Glory coming late to sweep down the outside. Did you feel like a bit of a, does it feel like a Grade 1 contest, Grade 1 winner?
No, not for me. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you go ahead, Frank.
Go on, John.
No.
I wasn't say much more than that. I wasn't getting too excited about it. Out of all of watching the 3 races we've just talked about, Jericho at Newbury, the Royal Bond, and then Five Ox and Ballyburn, I wasn't going mad. I don't know. Wasn't the best Grade 1 for me anyway.
Do you come in, Joel?
Well, I'm just going to say, what's the king of what's it called? I was guaranteed that was going to win. The one that Rachel was on that came back in third. That's the one that I was on, and somebody said don't touch that. But I thought no, it's the best horse in the race. I just thought it was more for me of seeing Jack Kennedy. What is he? 24. He's won 49, 50 group grade ones at his age. He keeps getting injured, the lad, and if he really comes through now and stays fit, showing his riding ability this weekend was probably the highlight for me over the horses, to be fair. And if I sound a little bit down, it's because A, I've not been drinking, but secondly, I couldn't pick anything at the weekend. I was so badly out of form. Everything just finished me off this weekend. I was tearing slips up left, right, and centre. So when you're asking me about how did a horse look to me, I've got that pocket talk coming out of my mouth. Because it's just been slip after slip after slip after slip ripped up.
Until
Bruno?
the last.
Yeah, until the last, when we were given a bumper horse that had fallen on its point-to-point only start, which won by a head. But also, I put that in a double with Man City to win by 1 goal or more.
Oh dear, moving swiftly on. There's a leaflet hanging around for you somewhere. Let's move on to the Ballymore. Let's move on to the Ballymore, Frankie. The reason I want to talk about this, Ginkgo Blue and Masaccio, there was very little choose between them at the line, but it's a race that in recent seasons produced Stay Away Faye, Stage Star, Brave Man's Game, and Santini, all gone on to Grade 1 victory. So it's a race that I think you should pay quite close attention to. Obviously, there's little choose between them, but I'm guessing the Cello may be on the agenda for probably both of them, Frankie.
Yeah, Max McNeil, Max McNeil tweeted after, said bring on the Cello. So I'm guessing that will be the plan for Masaccio and probably for Ginkgo Blue. They might have another matchup. You can't. I mean, what a hair split them on the day and could have gone either way really. Masaccio's had a little bit more experience. Ginkgo Blue was obviously running I think won a point and then won on first start. I think Masaccio's had a little bit more racing experience on the track. Looked a good performance by both of them. They went a long way clear of third. They both looked tough. They both gave up a bit of a fight, which you want in a Ballymore horse. And again, they've both been pretty well talked about, and both trainers, owners have been, happy with these horses and how they're doing. And as you said, the race has given good pointers in the past. So unfortunately, you don't have one sole winner, but if they go ahead again in the Cello, then that will probably give us quite a fair judgment on who is the better out of the two, because they're just going and having another crack on the same track. So definitely two to keep on side. Be great if they do go against each other again in the Cello, and I think if one does maybe improve past the other, then you might get clues to a really good horse, because I think they are both pretty decent novice hurdlers.
Yeah, it's a race that says produced plenty of champions down the seasons. What about these two juveniles, Joel? Start with you. Woodhoe won at Newbury on Friday. Then Nürburgring, who'd finished in front of him in Ireland and then got disqualified, came out and franked the form by winning the Grade 3 yesterday. 22-1 Woodhoe. I think same price, similar Nürburgring 20s as well after winning yesterday. And, it's form that's working out.
The form's 100% working out, and again, we're looking at prices around 20-1. At this time, this is the old anti-post market of going when you can get proper double figures, and you'd be sitting there on a 25, 33-1 shot. And again, at this point, because of all of the races at Cheltenham, I'm trying to concentrate on certain ones. Right, we've got the winner of 3 races so far, and looking at it. But then, before you know it, I made the mistake last year of having the book, and I'm sure we all did, of pulling out the big black book and going, we've got 4, 5, 6 in each race, but 20-1 seems fair enough to me. But you can, at this point in time, it's a proper pin job. And I'm still trying to work out at the weekend how my second best of the weekend got beat, Founder 50. That's just coming back up on Racing Replay because there's no racing on today. How did Founder 50 not win yesterday? I'm absolutely devastated with that. I'm having a bad time here.
Founder 50. Well, yeah. Again, I'll go back to that because there's a few horses that didn't run their race at Fairyhouse that travelled all. Impaire Passe we mentioned. Let's be clear about it in that race. Look, the winner, didn't he, between the last two and didn't quite get home. And Canto Bruno just hated the ground as well. I've not lost faith in him yet. There's those types of horses that just didn't handle that soft, tacky ground. They're beautiful movers and just didn't quite get home, Joel.
Yeah, Sharjah as well. I mean, I love Jerry Hannon. I wish he'd do one of the big races at Cheltenham. The man is going to die, isn't he? Doing commentary, and he's brilliant. If you watch him midweek, he sounds like he couldn't give two flying. And then the odds-on favourites down there, and he comes up and he win by whatever. But then at the weekend, he was like, "I am Maximus, I am Maximus." He's absolutely brilliant. But I think one of the highlights of the weekend was Sharjah. After Paul Townend hadn't touched him the entire way around, and he was just pulling him up, as the commentator said, Sharjah making further inroads. As Paul Townend is just pulling him up. Like, go on, found a 50, go on, found a 50. And like you say, that the favourite was in between them, and should have won. But again, it was a good race to watch at the weekend, to be fair. But I'm still good. Found a 50, should have won. But a lot of those horses at the weekend didn't like that dirty ground. One for Frankie. Do you think Constitution Hill would have run anywhere this weekend if he could have got, say, rerouted from Newcastle to anywhere? Would Nicky have ran him this weekend at Fairy House or Carlisle, Doncaster, or whatever? Because Doncaster turned into a joke, didn't it?
Well, yeah, if they could get him there. I'm not sure they'd be shipping him over to Fairy House. They've got to keep the king protected, haven't they? Don't want to be putting too many miles on the clock. Just keep him stabled away in Donny or wherever he was staying and get him racing this weekend. I'm rewinding. I'm just looking through, seeing if I can find a price for Jinko Blue. I think you might get 100 to 1 or sort of 50 to 1 for the Ballymore. Probably be worse slips, although you might end up throwing it in the bin. I just think that horse has surely got some more progression in it. It was beaten favourite on his first start, and then only on second start had a match against Masaccio that I said had a little bit more experience on his hands. So it's a wild punt, but not out the question. They could be a Ballymore horse. And then you mentioned, or you skipped past Wadhow. Chatted to Gordon before and after the race. He was at Newbury. I get the impression that there's got to be something way better in his yard, and he's not getting too carried away. He's just enjoying the run that they have, because it was a good group of owners. So Jack came over for one ride, although there was pretty much no other racing going on in Great Britain, so it's not like it was a massive pointer. Gordon did make the trip over, and all of their owners, there was about 15, 20 of them in total that were friends of or owners of the horse, made the trip over. And I think they're really, really enjoying this horse getting better and better and putting wins together. And Gordon's kind of placing it nicely, I think, for them to keep doing that. But I don't think she enters the Cheltenham Festival conversation. I don't think she's that good. I just think she's a nice horse for owners to keep going with.
Maybe the Fred Winter, the Boodles, the juvenile, because it's a race that he certainly targets, isn't it? Gordon Elliott uses a few runners in that. I think there's a couple back in the field in the grade 3 at Fairy House who could have that on their agenda as well. And yeah, the reason I want to mention Jinko Blur, you say, it's a race that Nicky Henderson and Paul Nicholls have won 3 times each in the last 9 years with very good horses. And I do like him. Trains a coach of habit. They tend to end their best horse at the same race year on year. And you say, Paul Nicholls, Stay Star, Brave Man's Game, Stay Away Faye, all gone on, of course, to good things after winning at Newbury. And Nicky Henderson had Santini. So them two, Jinko Blue and Masaccio Fran King, I think are two to keep on side and will probably certainly both be festival bound. Right, before we say cheerio, anything else catch your eye over the weekend? We'll start with you, Joel, other than any losers that you backed. Anything else that you thought, that's got my eye? Are we all about the bumpers for going forward?
I think I'll just stick with that. With absolutely no homework whatsoever. You just get a text message from Bumpity Bump. It's 5 out of 5, and I just think I just stick to that because we've been on a really nice winning run, and you get confident, and we always say it, and don't just say it because we have to say it, but it is like a gamble responsibly thing. But when you're doing so well, and it's the start of the series, you do so well, and your confidence gets built up and built up and built up, and then you get to a point where you're just going, I know absolutely nothing. So you go back to the drawing board, start from scratch again, and it's going to be a lot of homework. Now, I was going to go to Aintree this coming Saturday, but the first race is about 8 o'clock in the morning or something. I think it's 10 past 11 or something, isn't it? 7 or 8 race card, which is a little bit early for me, but it's on ITV. I'm going to look at Aintree this weekend. I want to rein in and start from scratch again. And really put some hard homework in, because confidence is there, but when your confidence isn't there, the winners ain't there.
There is that. Join us on Friday, of course, because we'll look at Aintree and Sandown this weekend on the Punters guide. And Frankie, anything that caught your eye? You're at Newbury, of course. I mean, is it this week we're going to start back in Monbeg Genius for the Grand National?
I was going to say for the Gold Cup. No, not Monbeg Genius, sorry. Yeah, you could start back in Monbeg Genius for the Grand National. Mile and Mission. lost 2 front shoes. My nap. So obviously I'm going to talk about it. And still put in a great performance. Came second. Jumped really well. Travelled well. And John McConnell said if they won that, then he'd go straight to the Gold Cup. But he doesn't know what to do now because they didn't win it. But the horse was beaten. Right, that's right. Jenny put in a really, really good performance. But beaten with 2 lost front shoes. Has Cheltenham form bar falling. I think you get about 40-50 to 1 for the Gold Cup in a race where I can't find a winner of it, and I can't go nuts about back and gallop and Deschamps at a short price. That might not be the worst each way bet for the Gold Cup mile admission. And then I'm rewinding again. There's a point. It's definitely not festival chat, but I just remembered that Gordon said that the filly, what was she called, Woodhull, will go to the juvenile hurdle at Chepstow next. So want to look out for it at Chepstow. But mile admission for the Gold Cup. Monbeg Genius for the Grand National.
Yeah, that's a double like the Equine Zola Bud, I guess. Joel?
Yeah, that's what right, I guarantee you Frankie won't know who Zola Bud is.
No.
No idea. Runner with no shoes on. Famous for having no shoes on. Hey, well, this is it. I'm taking you on here. I have actually got something for this week. It's nothing to do with the festival. But I backed Monbeg Genius for the Welsh National. At 8 to 1. That is the next destination. It's got Chepstow form twice. Ran round there. That's the next destination. So Monbeg Genius, 7 to 1. It was your mate John Joe, isn't it? John Joe Jr. You should be on to him. You should be on to him. Text him now. Welsh National. Monbeg Genius, because if that goes off, 20 runners, max field or whatever, that'll go off 5 to 2, 9 to 4, something like that. So text your little boy and ask him if it's going there, and if it goes there, it'll go off at a stupidly short price.
One more.
I imagine
that
will be the plan and everything that we know.
Yeah.
Just to sing some praises, and because I backed him, but how fun is it watching a horse like Alexis Dinux be fired into fences and pinging them? If you've backed him, it's even better. But Freddie Ginjal was very, very good in that, I thought. That was the highlight of my weekend, Newbury.
It was brilliant, but they had to watch on the TV screen because you couldn't see it live.
Oh, did I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I mean, screen's good enough, and then saw him over the last. But yeah, no, I thought that was good. He's only young, isn't he? And he was giving it a great ride.
Yeah, it was a real piece super, wasn't it, for that last race? Couldn't see much at all, but we did on the TV cameras, and it was a joy to watch them 4 fences. He met every single one. Right, fingers crossed it's more of the same this weekend. To be fair to the boys, they are in decent form when it comes to the weekend. It was Frankie's turn this weekend to have a few winners, but Joel did give us the bump winner with Petty Secret. More awaits, hopefully, Aintree Sandown under the guys this weekend. That was episode 3 of The Road to Cheltenham. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and you'll get notified of a new episode every single time we do either the Punters Guide or Road to Cheltenham. And we are available now to listen to, take us with us in your car or wherever you want to go on Spotify. But make sure you join us Friday. Aintree Sandown. Fingers crossed the winners continue to flow.